This is episode 161 of the Double Cross Anime Podcast. I'm Whooper, and here's Mario.
Hello, everyone, again.
Yes, for the 161st time. Hello. Or probably more at this point, since we've been doing a bunch of, themed episodes or episodes dedicated to one particular show that haven't been numbered. Whatever the number is, hello. We're here to talk about summer 2023 anime. Because the spring season's over. We recently talked about Tengoku Daimakyo, Skip and Loafer, and Oshinoko. Now we're back, not with 3 shows, but with 10 shows that we'll probably whittle down to 3 before we talk about them again in 3 months. You know the drill. This is our millionth time doing this, and there's a few worthwhile shows in here, I think.
Oh, this is I would say this is a massive letdown for me
Yeah,
compared to the previous season. Yeah,
interesting.
I can pick like out of the 10 shows that we watch, I think I can pick like 5 shows that I want to watch more. The
Oh
rest I
well,
can
I don't
pretty
even
much
have that
take it or
many.
leave it. That's not too few for me. Normally I can pick around like 7 8 shows or more.
Yeah. Well, we will we'll be ranking them 1 through 10 based on
Yep,
how interested we are in watching more or how good we thought they were.
yep.
So soon it will be revealed to everyone listening which ones Mario was a big fan of, which ones I was a big fan of, and in both cases, which ones we weren't such big fans of. We typically do this in alphabetical order. So do you
Yep.
want to say anything about your experience with all 10 shows on the whole before we jump into it?
I just said that I feel that it's a massive letdown. So there's not even like I want to feel as other show as well, and there isn't like any slice of life show or there's a lot of isekai, trashy isekais.
That's always the case.
That's always the case. It's
There's a slice of life show here in this group of 10.
oh easy.
Yeah.
We talk about that when it comes then.
All right. Well, it's not going to be the first one because the first one is AI no Idenshi. I think
Yeah.
that's how you say it.
Yeah.
You don't say
Yeah.
I like the word, like the Japanese word for love, right? It's AI.
It's AI.
Yeah, I figured. I didn't know if there was a pun going on or anything. Certainly, there wasn't a lot of love involved in this first episode since we're only judging by the premieres at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Even though for many of these shows, more than one episode has come out. In fact, in one case, the whole season got dumped onto Netflix.
Yep.
But just the first episode for AI no Idenshi, and this is, I guess, the sci-fi, the big sci-fi offering
Mm-hmm.
of the
Mm-hmm.
season. Would you say? I don't know if
Yeah,
big
yeah,
is the right
I
word
agree.
because I found this show to be pretty boring.
Oh, all right. So we have the same opinion on that one as well. So they, I think they mentioned the fact that this show is not a line novels. It not come from the line novels. It's more. I think it's more like a book or something that they adapted. And
Okay.
for me, it's still pretty much like the anime property that we always see. So the main character, for example, is it resemble of Blackjack.
I mean, he kind of fulfills Blackjack's job. He's like
Yeah,
an underworld um, doctor,
Doctor.
but for
Yeah,
AI. Yeah, everything he does under his pseudonym, which is like what is it called? Mogadit,
yep.
Mogadito.
I can
Uh,
never pronounce that, but
yeah,
yeah, you do a good job.
it's not a very Japanese looking word to add, complication on top of complication. But yeah, whenever he does any work, apparently he works as Mogadit from his office where he performs his actual job.
Yeah,
I wasn't exactly sure on how that works because he works at a hospital, but he is also taking on jobs at the same hospital
yep, yep,
where he's treating people who have cloned or transferred their consciousness, Ghost in the Shell style, their memories.
yep.
How does that? I'm not. How does he
All right.
do that without like losing his job?
Oh well, I pretty much think that his main job is actually his underground doctor. So the the doctor job that he has it's just like a cover. That's what I think. But you know,
But I mean, in order
it
to be
it
employed at that, in order to show up to the building every day and say hello to the security guards or scan himself in with an ID card or in order to get paid or what all that, he has to have an actual job,
well,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Unless the boss of the hospital is paying him to do this secretly.
yeah. We don't know that for sure.
I mean, in any case,
Yeah,
um,
I
it doesn't
yeah,
seem like he's going to be taking on a whole bunch of. I mean, judging by this first episode, it doesn't seem like he's going to be taking on a whole bunch of really interesting cases. I mean, this one was kind of tiresome, I thought.
well, I I I think I enjoy the concept behind it. The concept of like a robot or humanoid now that they live among the human and they have some issue as well. And if it take a look at like the I think the distinction between like what consists of robot, do they have feeling or do they like how different they are to human. But then again, like all the concept we have seen before in the time of Eve, or like all the shows that we see
Or Astro
before.
Boy, 60 years
Astro
ago.
Boy, that's right. And even I remember just a show around uh 10 years ago, I think, that touched the similar concept as well. The name escaped me at the moment. Plastic Memories.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that this is not a refreshing concept anymore, and the fact that the case this week is about like a a humanoid uh wife who like got a backup and she got a virus because of that. So
Right.
the resolution is just to reboot her memories and then give the backup to her so that like she could be the same person, but like she had lost 2 weeks memories. So that the whole thing going on about that. But I think the show really make it the point where like is that person who lost 2 weeks memories really the same person?
Yeah, that's
Not
the
a
whole
sorry,
dilemma.
not person, the same robot or humanoid, the same being as the person before, and I think they really overdid that.
Well, I mean, it was the central focus of the episode, so I don't know. That's what they wanted to talk about, the subject they wanted to address. So
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know how
they
you can write a story about that without, kind of tackling it head on. I
yeah,
just think
well,
that, the question itself.
it's not that interesting.
Well, I mean, for example, the wife keeps freaking out about how she's not gonna be the same person because she'll have lost some memories. But if
Yep,
this is something that she's talked with her husband a lot.
yep,
She's talked with her husband extensively about this.
hmm
So why not brainstorm? Why not come up with the idea to um, record a bunch of your life?
I
If you're thinking that a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however many weeks, if you're considering, erasing your current memories and using a backup, which has not been, corrupted, which the show
hmm
quickly points out, that's how the dilemma is set up.
hmm
So if you're aware of the possibility of relying on this backup, why don't you just start recording? Like take a camera around and
yep,
record your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences, and that way you can just store them locally, and then once your brain has been reset and you're the version of yourself from 2 weeks ago, you can see what it is that you did. Your first message can be like, when somebody dies and then they watch a video of themselves saying, if you're watching this, that means you died. Just do one of those types of videos, but say, if you're watching this, it means that, you lost 2 weeks of memories. But look, here's what you did
yep.
with your daughter. Here's what you did with your husband. Here's what you did with your friends.
I think that would be a perfect solution for this, instead of, uh, what they did at the end, they just kind of ignore it. They just kind of, like gloss over everything. That you have a uh it's went wrong, and you didn't wake up for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the husband, I guess, reset her memory
Yep.
without her consent. Um,
Hmm.
so I
Oh
guess
yeah,
that's
that's right, because at the end she couldn't function anymore. So that's when they reset the memory. Yep, yep, yep.
well, no, at
Uh,
the end or towards the end, she decides like at the last second before the doctor hits the the big glowing button
yep,
that's gonna wipe her mind. She's like, no, please, I don't want to. And
yep.
then cut to I don't know, probably some stuff of the main character, Mogadit or whatever, Hikaru, however you want to refer to him. And then,
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe he goes and sees his mother again or he talks to his assistant or something. But then at the end of the episode, she wakes up and they're like, oh, you've been asleep for 2 weeks.
Yep, yep.
So it wasn't that she broke down and wasn't able to function anymore. The
No,
husband
no,
just
no,
took matters into his own hands.
no, no, no. They did they did say that in the episode, that 2 weeks later she ceased to function, like physically. So that's when they do the backup process.
Who says that? Who says
The
that she ceased to
the
function?
narration.
The
I
narrator?
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Hmm. Okay.
So, okay. How do you think about the main character, the main doctors, who, like, I don't feel that he possess any emotion at all.
Well,
He
he
just,
himself is a humanoid.
oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Didn't know that. Mm,
Yeah, he's a humanoid. Even though he doesn't have the horizontal pupils like all the other humanoids do, it's implied that he's a humanoid, I think, because he's the result of a human and a humanoid having a child. The very first thing
okay.
we see in the episode is his mother making the
Hmm.
decision to like clone or transfer her personality.
Yep.
Um, and I guess like it's the way that the show sets it up. It seems to be like a novel technology, like
Hmm.
something totally new. That's the way that the guys who are sitting across from her at the table are presenting it to her, and they're like, "Oh, you can even you know clone your memories. You can use them later or store them or whatever. Or we wanna use those memories in order to create AI that can act really well because you're a great actor or something along those lines."
Hmm.
So I guess, but she was like punished for that. She is in
Yeah.
jail, and the main character visits her in jail. So I guess even though it was a new technology at the time, it was retroactively criminalized. It was made
Hmm.
illegal after the fact, or was it illegal even at that
I
time?
Yeah, I think it's illegal at that time, as he was scammed into, let's say, signing the contract.
Oh, you think she was scammed?
Yeah.
Maybe, could be.
But
I don't know. Like
yeah,
I don't think much. I don't think much of the main
yep.
character. Just in general, the presentation of the show is not very strong, and that kind of prohibited me from making any sort of connection with any of the characters. Like the animation's weak.
Hmm. Hmm.
Many of the backgrounds, especially all the ones that took place in the family's house
Hmm.
with the mother and father and their little girl, it just the CG is really bad. That wallpaper
Yeah.
is like they apparently had some issues with the wallpaper when they were creating the layout of like the digital layout of that house because it's like there's aliasing problems and it just doesn't look good. Uh,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Not a lot for me to latch onto. I don't think.
Yeah. I don't think I gonna give this show any more episode try either.
Yeah,
Yep. So
it's
I rank it 8 out of 10. How about you?
ninth.
All
It's
right.
it's nice that it exists for the people who like really want this sort of show to be made. Like they
Mhm.
want sci-fi anime, no matter how it looks or what
Yep.
what it's like in general. They just want there to be sci-fi anime on TV. This show is for
I
them.
Yeah. I think my verdict is that watch Astro Boy or Time of Eve instead.
Just watch Ghost in the Shell, man.
Watch Good in the Shell. Yes. Skip this.
Yeah,
All right. Let's go. The next one is Heck. Oh,
yeah. Heruku,
all
Helck.
right.
It's hard to say.
Heck.
Um, yeah, I was under the impression that this was a much older manga than it actually is, but apparently it started in 2014. I want to say.
Right.
I thought it was older. Maybe this
I
because there's recently been an adaptation of Bastard, the the fantasy manga,
uh-huh.
and maybe I got the two of them confused in my head a little bit. But yeah, I'm on my anime list right now, and the manga started publication in 2014. In fact, it only
Right.
ran for 3.5 years.
All right. Is the manga finished?
Yeah, it only ran for three
Right.
and a half years.
All right. All right. Well, I thought the same as well because I think the concept is, like it's really dime a dozen. So we have seen that concept before, like the underworld uh where there's various demon kings, demons, what they call demon captains. They try to become a demon king. So we see a lot of that before, and we also see in before that like the this demon world is not they the people there is not as scary as that as we thought. They are uh either incompetent or like just the outright adorable.
Well, the I think all of that is in service of the series' big twist,
Yep.
which is that the strongest person fighting in this tournament, the strongest person on the side of the demons, is actually a human being.
Yep.
So it can't be that the demons are all really vicious and antagonistic and threatening and hateful and all that, because you got to
Yep.
have like a friendly human who they all get along with really well, since he's the main character and everything. I think he's the main character.
He
A lot of
is the main
the
character.
a lot of this episode is presented kind of through the eyes of, or at least the person who's on the screen for the most time is Vermilio,
Yep.
the redheaded fire demon girl, who's acting as like the overseer of this tournament that Helck is competing in.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
don't know if she's the main character or if Helck is. Um, I mean, Helck's got his name on the poster, I guess. His name is the name of the show, the manga, but
Mhm.
that doesn't necessarily mean he's the main guy.
Yeah, maybe at least not on the first episode that we watch, because like he's the question mark basically, because Vermilio just doesn't really know how to figure out him, doesn't really know what his main purpose is
Well,
since he's a.
she suspects that he's like a secret agent.
Yep. Yep.
The humans have sent him in order to take over, because in this fantasy world, the humans are like the dominant race, I guess,
Hmm.
and demons are on the back foot. That's why they're searching for a new demon king by holding these events, these tournaments.
Yep.
And so she thinks that Helck is here to sabotage them, but we're led to believe, at least based on the events of this premiere, that that's not the case.
Yep.
There are a
Yep.
bunch of things we don't know, though, like the
Hmm.
significance of Helck's brother,
Yep.
um, the fall
who
of what?
actually killed
What's
the
up?
Demon King, the previous Demon King, and it is said that it's Helck, this guy who killed his own brother. We don't know
Really?
this for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't remember
So
hearing that he had killed his own brother.
so the main guy, Heck, he is wanted in the human world because he killed his brothers.
Oh, that's right, fratricide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's
Vermilio's
that's a new word
helper.
for me actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, side, like homicide, deicide, fratricide. That all just means murder of various
Yep.
types. But I remember Hon, who's Vermilio's little helper.
Mm.
I think he was the one who said that Helck was wanted for fratricide in the human realm.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And there's also one of the side characters, I guess. There's a pair of characters who are maybe twins or sisters, and they have
Yep.
some
Who
sort of
can
psychic link.
telegraph? Yep. Yep.
Yeah, one of them goes to visit several human settlements, and there's no one there,
That's
and
interesting.
that's kind of juxtaposed against Helk's like smiling, good-natured personality, as if to perhaps suggest that he was the one responsible for
Hmm.
killing all these humans, or maybe that his brother was. I don't really I don't really know.
Yeah.
So there are some questions to be curious about, I guess, but that's not what takes up the bulk of this first episode. Mostly it's just comedy
Hmm.
having to do with the format of the tournament, all the very silly stuff that Help gets up to, and
Yeah.
all of Vermilio's reactions to that stuff.
Yeah. Like at one point they even do the cooking instead
Right.
of like any fighting, and Familio is become a judge in that one. And even she want to sabotage Heck, she couldn't do that because she couldn't lie that his food or his dessert was really good.
Right. She's got a sweet tooth, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think this show have like one they have some more twists coming in, but it just satisfies to just being a comedy about about Heck, about like the true identity of Heck through the eye of Emilio, the demon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what form this story will take eventually, because the fact that it starts with a tournament kind
Hmm.
of makes me think that maybe that was suggested by the editor of the manga series in order to attract an audience, like the sort of people who love battle shonen tournaments.
Hmm.
It could be that that's just like kind of a device in order to cultivate an audience or a fan base, and from there the show will move on to whatever its quote unquote story is. I don't even know if it'll have an overarching story, but maybe it'll start to answer some more questions about Helk's true identity and what's going on with the human realm.
Hmm.
Is I don't There's not an easy way to tell, being like not having read the manga and only having seen one episode of the anime. You kind of just
Yeah.
have to go based on your feelings about what they chose to give us.
Yeah. And even with the tournament, I think we can pretty know that who gonna win because aside from Hulk, we don't really know any others contenders at all.
Well, towards the end, we get to hear a little bit of dialogue from the blonde-haired demon who
Hmm.
looks very
Hmm.
human. I can't remember that guy's name. And then also
Yeah.
the woman who has like that really dark expression on her face, or her eyes are dark,
Yep.
I
Yep. Yep.
guess. Hyura is her name, but I can't remember the guy's name.
Hmm.
But perhaps like if the manga is gonna become more of a traditional fantasy rather than like a fantasy comedy, then there will be a party formed. Like a
Yep.
party of adventurers or party of warriors, whatever they're going to be labeled as. And Helk will be in the party. I have to imagine those other two demon characters who he exchanges a few lines with, they'll probably be in the party. So Vermilio.
Mhm.
I don't know.
So yeah, I think it is this first episode just a gimmick to see, um, yeah, to get to know more about this world and Helck. I think the later episode we will see more of this. So true colors.
Maybe.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could call it a gimmick. I don't whether or not it's a gimmick. Kind of, you can only make that judgment once you know what it will become eventually. Because this could be all
true.
there is.
Yep,
That's a
yep,
possibility too.
yep, true. All right. What rank that you put for this one?
Number 8.
It's number seven for me. So we still like.
Pretty much in step.
All right. So we get to the next one.
Yeah.
Horimiya.
Horimiya, the missing
Peace.
pieces.
Yep.
Yeah. So I remember when Horimiya aired, of course, the manga is very popular, and there were lots of people saying, oh, they didn't adapt this, or why is the pacing like this when in the manga it was like this?
Hmm.
Of
Hmm.
course, not having read the manga, could, I could tell that what we were getting were just individual chunks of a larger story, but
Yep.
I thought it worked fine, pretty much, for the anime, the way that they did it. So I didn't feel that anything was missing or that the series was inadequate in any way, at least not in that way.
Yeah, I think
But now we
it
have the stuff that everyone was complaining was missing. That's what this
yep,
show
yep,
is going to
yep.
be, I guess.
Well, I feel that this show is the same as the Ranking of Kings last episodes. Even though I just watched the first episode of that one, I still haven't finished that yet. But it tell these side stories of uh apart from the main anime.
Right.
So what we got is just like a portion of like small moments, and in order to enjoy the show, you have to enjoy all the characters from the series, which I think I'm just halfway. I think so. I'm not totally like I'm not a fan of them, but I don't hate them either.
I mean, the best characters in the original series were the two characters whose names make up the title,
Yep, yep,
Hori
true.
and Miyamura. And yeah, all the other characters were fine, I guess, but they were they weren't my favorites either.
Yep.
Now we're like watching the missing pieces
Hmm.
this season. I guess you would call it a season of the anime. All the the show assumes that you have knowledge of all those characters from the first anime series.
Yep, true.
So right away, yeah, we do see all those side characters. They don't need to be introduced.
Yep.
And I mean, I feel like this is probably, especially because people were like upset or disappointed that some stuff was missing. This show seems to be for them,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
And I don't really feel as though I need this. I mean, maybe like if I'd watched the first episode and been really like pleasantly surprised by it, or just happy, like a bit happier to see the characters again, I wouldn't think that way. I'd be like, oh yay, more Horimiya.
Hmm.
But I
Yep.
mean, this first episode didn't leave that much of a mark on me. It was all about um, Miyamura's tattoos,
Yep.
and like I remember there being a story about his tattoos in the original series. I don't need more about it.
Yep. I pretty much agree with you. I just think that these these stories I don't need it either. Like a fact that Miyamura just hide his tattoo. I think they repeat a bit too much. It become a bit stale at the end as well.
Yeah, especially towards the end, because
Yep.
this episode is basically divided into two parts.
Hmm.
They go to Kyoto, I guess, for their school trip,
Yep.
and that part of the episode is kind of fun
Hmm.
because they're away from school, they're in a new setting, and we get a little bit of montage of all the places they go, the photos they take, and it's there's a little bit of romance in there and some sexual tension
Mhm.
because Hori invites Miyamura into her room in order to take a shower so he can be away from the prying eyes of all the other boys who might see his tattoos and judge him for that. And so she, both characters are kind of like thinking to themselves, well, how do I best broach this sensitive topic, or how should I act when we're in this, uh, you know, different situation? I
Mhm.
think I can't remember the exact timing of when the two of them were intimate for the first time in the original series with regard to whether his hair was long or short at that point. Because
That's a good point.
if I
I don't recall that.
remembered if I
Yep.
remembered whether they had first been together when his hair was had been cut already or whether it was still long, then I could
Mhm.
use that as like
A guide.
a yeah, a
Yep.
guide for whether this nervousness between the two of them, like predates their first sexual encounter.
Mhm.
Because that would make sense. I mean, that's how I'm reading it, since they are so nervous, and Hori is like, "Oh man, I spent all this time thinking
Yep.
about like how I could
I
get him into my room or how I should act once he
if
comes over, and I set up this whole plan where I was going to like kick my roommates out and make sure they were otherwise occupied." That sort of thought process to me says that they haven't really been together
Yeah,
yet.
that's true. That's my impression as well. That they haven't officially dating at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it. mm, Otherwise, Miyamura's asking Hori that you will you let all the boys in would seem too weird. Would seem a bit intimidating as well. So,
Yeah, that's not the sort of question you're supposed to ask
yeah,
under any
well,
circumstances. But
that's
he
true.
is like 16 or 17. So, how
Hmm.
many years did the original was the original anime
I
over the course of 3 years? Am I remembering that
yeah,
correctly?
I think that through the course of the high school. So
Yeah.
probably yes.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I started second guessing myself because in the original anime series, and by original I don't mean the OVA, I mean the one from 2 years ago. It is
Hmm.
kind of difficult sometimes to judge the passage of time, since it does just pick and choose, which stories to adapt.
Hmm.
But I guess this being there's some dialogue in here about it not being their freshman year or something,
Hmm.
since they
Hmm.
got a little bit more freedom. Since they're
Oh,
older students, they got more freedom to explore the city.
that's true. Yep.
So maybe it takes a place a little bit further along
Yep.
in their high school careers, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, I thought the first part was all right, but
Yep.
the second part, um, like just a million jokes about how he didn't want to take off his shirt to swim,
Hmm.
and they had to swim on their last day of physical ed class, phys ed.
Yep. Yep.
Just
There's that.
a million jokes about that, and I just got tired of it.
Yeah. That's my impression as well. And I also feel that just for me though, because I know I don't really into the original show. So like, or when all the side character pop up, I have a little bit of time to like to really remember who they are. Like the red-headed girl, I don't even remember her.
With a pink hair,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Remy. Yep, the one
Yeah.
who's been suspicious about Miyamura's why he doesn't take off his shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I blogged this series in
Yep,
another life, so
you
I
remember
remember
them, right?
I remember all the characters. Yeah, I had to write about them every week.
You had to.
Yeah, I mean, once you get started writing about a series, you basically have to. Well, you don't have to finish
Yep,
it. You can drop whatever you want. But at that point, I thought to myself, I should keep going.
yep,
Eventually, I quit doing that. I quit. Kept going. How would I say that? I stopped going, basically.
yep. Mhm. So yeah, I think this is basically designed for fans, and and that's it. And for finally, if you are like not keen on the main story or the main series, you can pretty much skip it.
Well, I mean, the original Horimiya TV anime
Mhm.
was like one of the most popular shows of its year, pretty sure. So I think a lot of people are probably looking forward to this.
Yeah. Well, not me.
I
I
I
put
I
it
don't think I'm
nine
gonna
out of
watch it
10.
anymore.
Yep.
You what?
I put it 9 out of 10.
Okay, I put it fifth.
All right. So there's five other show that you think was in this. Interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's go with the next one. So the only two sequels of the 10 show that we talk, Jujutsu Kaisen second season,
Right.
and it get back uh to the backstories
Gojo.
of Gojo and the main antagonist, Gito.
Right. Geto. Yeah. This episode felt very Chainsaw Man esque to me.
Yeah. I agree. I feel that as well. But being saying that, I still enjoy this one more than Chainsaw Man's.
Yeah.
All right. Remember the section in Chainsaw Man where they get into the building and they've been stuck. They've been in a loop as well. Remember that? So
Yep.
this
The
one,
Infinity Devil or Eternity Devil, whichever one it was.
yeah, that's right. And what the when the group get into that, their solution is just like just wait, just hang out, and then the media and then I don't know how they get escape actually.
I don't know.
In
They
in
lure the Eternity Devil out
Yeah,
somehow.
how?
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
that
It's something to do with Denji. Is that his name? Is that the Chainsaw
yeah,
Man guy's
Denji.
name? Denji.
Yep,
I,
yep.
I don't know. They
I
use him like as a sacrifice,
I
kind
think
of.
he got berserk, and then he just like jumped into like the its stomach in order to chainsaw the monster. Here though they actually have like a method of like of destroying that. So like it actually not just like waiting there and wait for things to happen, but they're actually actively doing things that to break the curse. So
Yeah, I
I'm really
definitely
much enjoying
prefer
this version.
Chainsaw Man's version
All right, wow.
because then you can mess with time a little bit, and you can, you don't just say, "Oh, let's both run in opposite directions really fast," because honestly, that's the sort of thing that doesn't make any sense,
That's true.
and only works because of the word of God. Basically, the author said that that's how it's going to be broken. Whereas in Chainsaw Man, you can really test your characters, see how they respond to that sort of pressure. And that's the approach that show took, because the characters started to verbally and even physically attack each other. Like the scared girl whose name I can't remember, who's always
Uh-huh.
freaking out with a little tiny ponytail, like
Yep,
stabs Denji.
yep, yep.
The idea being that they want to offer him as a sacrifice to the Eternity Devil to get out. In Jujutsu Kaisen, it's more the same Jujutsu Kaisen bullshit where like characters have internal domains and
Yep.
stuff. Like the inner workings of their mind become like a physical place. And I kind of got a similar vibe from the concept that, oh, well, we'll just run really fast in different directions, and then whatever is going on metaphysically here, the demon just won't be able to keep up. Like, why not? Why? It's a demon. It's a supernatural creature. Why can't it just keep making more and more copies of segments of the hallway? I don't really
They
get that.
just can't they just cannot do the control C, control V.
Right. Yeah. I guess maybe if you think of it that way, like there being a physical input that the demon has to do, like layer it on top of the real world. He can't hit the keys fast enough, or he can't like mentally add the rooms to one another quickly enough. Something
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. All right. So, just to be clear, like I think Jujutsu Kaisen is like out of all the shonen show that come out in the last, I think, 5 years. I actually pretty much enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen. So I like the fight choreography. I enjoy, like the slick animation.
Yeah.
And this one really, I think the animation is top notch here.
Yeah. It's definitely very good. Very off kilter presentation as well. That's the main
Mhm.
reason that I compared
Yeah.
it to Chainsaw Man was
Mhm.
the presentation being so like left field, especially for a major shonen property.
I agree.
For
But it's
example, like the scene in at the high school. It feels
mhm.
weird to call it a high school, but they do refer to it as Jujutsu High. Like midway through the episode, when they go back to the school building that feels really empty,
Yeah.
and they hear from their teacher about the mission that they're going to be put on next. Like they have to guard what is
A
her?
a girl.
Yeah, a girl. Her name is like something Holy Star Vessel, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And she's going to become the vessel for Tengen Sama, who's a jujutsu person,
Hmm.
like a curse breaker, I guess, or whatever it is they're called.
I
As
think
their
we know.
teacher is explaining that mission to them, you get a whole bunch of very strange angles. I
Mhm.
remember distinctly there's one where there's a whole bunch of chairs stacked on top of desks, and you see one of the characters speaking through a little square. Like all the chairs are arranged in such a way that the camera peers through a little gap made by all the legs of the chair, and you just see the character's head floating in the middle of that square as they're talking.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's just weird stuff going on like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And they also, like the two of them, the Geto and Gocho,
Yeah,
like they playing basketball and like they fighting over there as well.
right. Yeah, the basketball scene. All the little segments of this episode do feel like completely removed from one another.
That's true.
Like
That's true.
stylistically, the basketball scene is very much its own thing. Even the music, gets like the
Mhm.
music is a bit more aggressive in that scene to reflect the fact that Gojo and Geto are like having a disagreement about I don't know, like the way that common people ought to be respected, even though they don't have any sort of supernatural abilities.
Mhm.
Gojo's like saying that they really don't deserve shit because they're just ordinary people and who cares. And Geto, who will eventually become one of the series' major villains, has a more sympathetic perspective. So that makes you wonder, like, if he's the quote unquote good guy in this conversation, how did he end up being the quote unquote bad guy
Yeah,
in the
that's true.
present day?
That's true because my impression after this third episode is that Gocho is more likely to be a bad guy than Gito.
Well, Gojo is more charismatic.
He more arrogant as well.
Yeah,
He's much
yeah.
more arrogant, so that's why.
Well, we also
But
the very first scene in this episode is also very reminiscent of Chainsaw Man. It's the point of view camera that travels slowly down an alleyway. I don't know if you remember
right,
in
I
Chainsaw Man,
know.
there were a bunch of those scenes where, like, they were supposed to be reflective of Denji's heart.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
The camera would often travel down a really like grungy looking kind of grayscale alleyway, and then there would
Yep.
be a door with a whole bunch of like barriers around it
Hmm.
that Denji wasn't supposed to go in no matter what. Something similar happens at the start of this episode where it's just a whole bunch of gray, like and it's Geto walking down a city street, and eventually he
Hmm.
turns into an alleyway where there's a demon, I guess, or a curse, whatever it
All
is they're
right.
calling the
Yep.
supernatural creatures, and he has this monologue running about exercise and
Exercise.
then absorb,
Observe. Yep.
exercise, absorb. Yeah. So that's
Yep.
probably plays into how he became a villain.
Mhm.
I guess he like maybe he came into contact with too many evil spirits or
He
something
just
like
gets he just gets sick of exercise because he's the one who had to absorb all this. And from the monologue, we know that it doesn't taste really good.
Right. Yeah, he says something about it being like having to eat a rag that's been used to wipe up
Yep,
some stuff.
yep.
Yeah, it's gross.
I I wonder though that um Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, is that any factor to that? Because I think we learn more about Geto in there as well.
Yeah, I
But
haven't seen it, but apparently that's the case.
yep, yep. All right.
Yeah, I don't really know
Yeah,
what the deal
I
is with that
think
film. I wasn't a fan of Jujutsu Kaisen after its conclusion, so I didn't bother to watch that
yep.
movie. But
Uh, yep.
yeah, it's big. I mean, this is the big anime of the season, right?
It is, and I think it's interesting that they go back in time first for. I think this gonna be an act as well, so it's gonna take like the whole, maybe like the first half of the season, just to follow Kocho and Geto, or even like the whole season before we
Yeah.
get back to the present time.
They've actually already said how many episodes it's going to be,
I'm
this arc. So
Yeah,
I'll leave that up to your imagination.
all right. Based on the OP that I watched, I think this gonna take the whole season because they're just the two of them.
What do you mean?
They
Just the
they
two
just
of them, like just the two characters?
they mainly go to Geto in the OPs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anything's possible, though. I mean, like Chainsaw Man had 12 different EDs.
Yep, that's true. That's true. So yep, I think I will be on board on this one. I know that you don't care much about Jujutsu Kaisen, but I really enjoyed the show.
I mean, I like
So
this episode. I really, the Chainsaw Man feel of it, just
yep,
the willingness to be kind of off the wall with it,
yep,
even though it's an adaptation of such a major manga. I
yep,
respect
yep,
that.
yep,
It's cool, you know.
yep.
I don't know if I'm going to watch any more, but I like this episode.
Right. I put it 4 out of 10.
So did I.
Oh wow. Four. All right. The next one is the long ass Netflix and
Yeah.
80 minutes premiere. Oku, the Inner Chambers.
Yeah. This is interesting.
It is
A
very
literal
interesting.
reverse harem show.
I agree. And after the first episode, I still if I still don't know that what direction the show would take. Like the main character, the main guy that we follow from the beginning to up until like the last 10 minutes. Is he
Mizuno.
gonna Mizuno? Yeah, he's gonna appear again because it seems that the main focus is going back to uh to the lady. I think her name is Tokugawa, is right?
Well, Tokugawa would be her family name. That's like the name of the clan that
Yep.
uh, established the shogunate.
Right. Right.
So she would be referred to as like Yoshi Yoshimune
Yoshimune.
sama,
Yep.
I guess.
Yep.
She's the shogun, basically, like the
Yep.
military ruler of Japan.
Right.
And yeah, I think I don't even think it's going to be her story, honestly. I mean, because the way that the episode wraps up, she's looking into the history
Yep.
of
And this.
Japan ever
Yep.
since this plague that kills
Yep.
men hit Japan. So the fact that it ends with her like looking into this dusty old tome written
Yep.
by like a decrepit historian, like record keeper type guy, makes me think that we're actually going to flash back
Yep.
to how this like matriarchy was established in the wake of the red pox, whatever they're called.
Yep. Yep. I think
Yeah,
it's
but
have a
So Mizuno is definitely done. His story's over. I mean, he got to
Jesus
go home
Christ
and be together with his,
sweetheart.
yeah, with his childhood friend and his first love.
Yep. Well,
So I think that's nice. I mean, and that is part of why I think making this first episode so long was a good idea, because
Right.
it tells his story in a self-contained way.
Yep.
So even though we only get, technically one episode with him in focus, it is able to tell his full story.
Yep. And and I really enjoy Mizuno as a characters and even Yoshimune. So it actually a bit a shame it like the show uh, uh take the focus away from them to like to focus more on other characters.
Maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, maybe
because
it's a
we
shame, but we don't know whether it's a shame or not, right?
yeah, true.
What if the stuff that comes next, like after we dig into if that is indeed what's going to happen, if we go back in time and sort of like Rakugo, because that's how Rakugo was. We started in the present day, and
Mm,
then everything beyond the first episode, the whole first season, is a flashback.
yep.
I think that
That
I mean I'm guessing that that's what's going to happen here. I don't know if it'll be the whole like remainder of the other 9 episodes. It'll be a flashback
yep.
to a particular female shogun or to multiple female shoguns.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it's hard to say.
Hmm. That kind of interesting in itself. How do you take of this alternative world
It's really
where
interesting.
yeah, true,
I mean, I
where
think the
men's
show does a nice job of using Mizuno as a way of like introducing you,
exploring.
because he's new
Yep.
to the
Hmm.
Oku. So with him needing a whole bunch of information from other characters, that way watching him learn, we can also be learning at the same time. He's like the
Hmm.
audience surrogate,
Yep.
and it works really well because he's immediately likable, you know.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And the show builds its alternate reality very convincingly. Like the concept of men, well, him. Let's just use him as an example. Mizuno in particular
Hmm.
is shown to be like a very compassionate character because he just offers up his body to women who want to get pregnant so
Yep.
they can carry on their family lines.
Yep.
Because the men are in high demand and low supply in this future.
Yeah. But
So
but but
that
they they've been
concept is
they've been treated as a slave as well.
they're treated as slaves. I really didn't
Yeah.
get that feeling actually from
All right. Yeah, but they be treated as a concubine, like they in the red district, and like they just in the inside the all these protos, so that
right.
yeah,
I
women
guess there
come.
could be, yeah, they could be, some of them could be enslaved there, or told like they could be working off debts for their family. Um, because that's one of the other major characters. I think the guy who becomes like Mizuno's sort of his closest
Servant.
acquaintance.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he
Yep.
eventually becomes Mizuno's servant. I can't remember his name. It starts with an M, I think.
Right.
Um, but
Yep.
when
Go on.
he is talking to Mizuno, he says, "You're fortunate because my family actually, like pimped me out essentially every night since I turned 14."
Yep. Yep.
Which is really, that's really messed up.
Yep.
Dude,
Well.
thank goodness that women constitute 50% of the population. Can you imagine in the real world what would happen if this kind of virus like killed women rather than men?
Oh man, that's gonna be really tough.
Yeah. Well,
That's for
yeah.
sure.
There'd be human rights violations happening all
Yep.
across the globe every
Yep.
millisecond of every day.
Yep.
And I mean, there's probably plenty of that already that we're not exposed to. But yeah, when you don't have a balance between the sexes, uh, something like Oku can
Yep.
happen. But it's
And
it's interesting to like the comparison that the show makes between Mizuno being generous and his family, taking his desires into consideration. Like when his
Yeah.
mother says, "Oh, we've found a bride for you. We've arranged for you to be married off."
Hmm.
Um, when he like rebels and says, "No, I want to become a part of the, the shogun's harem, I guess, the Oku."
Mm.
That's an actual conversation that they can have. And his mom, being the matriarch, kind of resents him, contradicting her, but they do still
Uh-huh.
have that discussion. Whereas somebody like the guy that Mizuno meets at the Oku and who becomes like his mentor or his teacher,
Hmm.
he didn't have a choice. So the show contrasting those two possibilities in this future makes it more credible.
Yeah.
It's not as though
Yeah.
everybody's on the same track because people are still people and there's still going to be abuse and there's also still going to be respect
Yeah.
between people,
Yeah.
of all types.
And it's really interesting as well because I myself have watched a lot of show like K drama about like all these servant girls like fighting to get attention of like the main king,
Yeah, yeah.
like in some of the series. So we have that here like in reverse genders, and we have like all these bullying and even like a touch of abusing as well.
Yeah, yeah, there's an
In
attempted rape.
Yeah, that's right. And we learn later on that it's like a it more common than the reasonable thing over happen over there. So
Right.
like that's the whole that this whole other thing be going on. And yeah, just see like all the boys kissing each others, and it actually like pretty weird, but I think it worked for the show's purpose.
Well, it kind of makes sense to me. Like
Yeah,
I
it makes
accepted it
sense.
easily because of what you hear about like what happens in prisons.
Yep. Yep.
Um, it would be similar, I guess, for the men living in the Olku because there would be no women around,
Yep.
unless
Yep.
you're the one who's getting called on to sleep with the shogun. No,
Yep.
what nobody else can touch you. Uh,
And
so what are you gonna do in that circumstance? I don't. I
and
guess you would get friendly with some other guys.
yep, and even like all the observed rules that they have, like when you first sleep with the with the Lord, you will be the one who like who die,
Yeah,
got
if you're the one to
executed.
take the shogun's virginity
Yep,
in this alternate reality, I highly doubt that was a
that's the thing.
practice in the real world because in this
Uh,
show, many of the shoguns, like there are characters in this show who are just gender swapped versions of actual Japanese historical figures. Like they have the same name.
oh, is it all right?
Yeah, but I highly doubt that the woman from
No,
the Oku in the real world who deflowered the shogun
yep,
was put to death.
no,
You
I
know,
don't think so
I think
because
that's
they
probably an invention of the author here.
yeah, I do think because they're supposed to carry a child, so you know.
Who? What? The shogun?
The, no, no. In the real world, the girls, the woman, are supposed to carry a child, so that's why they
Oh
don't.
yeah. Well, I
They
mean,
they're
the
not
other
gonna.
reason would be like there's not a similar purity standard for men. So
Yep.
taking the virginity of the male shogun is not a big deal,
Yep.
perhaps in the eyes of the populace or
Yep.
the people who make these rules. Whereas in this version of history, in Oku's version, you know, the even though the most powerful woman in the country, the most powerful person in the country is a woman, uh, there's still this idea that she's being like ruined, by a man, and so he has to pay the price for that,
Mm.
for ruining her, for taking her virginity. But everything works out very well for Mizuno, even though he thinks he's about to be executed. There's
Yep.
He's spared instead because Yoshimune is a cool lady, and
Yep.
she has like a cool I don't
Oh,
know, like ninja guy who spends all his time up in the ceiling, and who she
yep.
can like whisper her commands to, and he'll be like "Go and go off and do her bidding and stuff. I hope that there are more, like, regardless of whether we stay in the present or whether we go back into the past for future episodes. I hope that we
Uh-huh.
see more of either that character or other characters who fulfill his role.
Yep.
Like get a
Yep.
little bit
Yep.
of espionage in there, you know.
Yep.
So add some drama, have characters spying on other characters and stuff. I think that'd be neat.
All right. I have one question.
Oh
You
yeah,
send me the you send me the screen grab of Oju's
oh yeah,
of the shows. So yep.
yeah.
What the
So if you
significance
look
behind that?
if you look at that screen cap, look at the rightmost part of the screen cap. Like look at the bush, the
Yep.
brightly colored bush behind that guy's head,
Yep.
and then slide your focus over a little bit
To the
to
left.
to the left, where everything looks a
Right.
lot blurrier.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You see the contrast between those two things?
Yes, I do.
So now look at the ear of the guy who's on the right hand side of the screen. Look at his ear
Right.
and slowly slide your vision to the left.
To the main guy ear.
No, not the no, just the
All right.
the
The
character on the right. You see his ear,
yep. 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 The out
and
of
you see how
focus
there's like a
bush as
tiny
well.
little sliver of the bush, only slightly
Yep.
blurred, and
Yep.
then next to it,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
way blurrier.
Right.
That's the compositing. Whoever composited this scene just completely messed up.
Yeah.
They were
Even to the main guy, like on the far left, you see like a bit of green bit.
like, you mean in
Just
the upper left hand corner?
yeah, yeah, upper left hand. You see a bit of like a
Oh yes, I do see that. That tiny little bit of that brighter green.
yeah, that's right.
Oh wow, I didn't even spot that part. But I
Wow.
just while I was watching, I noticed, and this wasn't the only compositing error in the show. I mean, the show's really not very visually impressive. I don't think it's
Mhm.
terribly well produced. Um, there were other errors like this was the biggest one for sure,
Yep.
that I caught. But there were other problems with the depth of field effects.
Mhm.
There was
Mhm.
also the 3D CG hair ornament on
Right.
that was part of like Onobu's hair.
Yep.
Onobu being Mizuno's childhood friend.
Yep. Yep.
That was really just a really poor choice to do that. I think we just
Yeah.
I don't know what they should have done, but it wasn't that.
Yep.
There's also moments where characters will be like there'll like be an intense scene where characters are arguing, and there will be like really ugly digital hatch marks horizontally across the parts of their brow that are furrowed, but they'll also for some reason be applied to like the beads of sweat on the characters' faces.
Mhm.
Those are supposed to indicate like shadows, shadows cast by the fact that their brow is furrowed. So why is there a shadow cast by a bead of sweat? Just so like the people who were helping put this show together, not doing not it, like not the A team exactly. So that I found that to be pretty disappointing.
Yep. 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 I agree. I I feel that it's the character designs that the best part. But the other part of the production is it just like just average. How about the music though? I think the music is alright.
The music, I thought the music was fine. I think it was well utilized, but I did recognize it as being extremely similar to other scores that Kenji Kawai has written. It's got the same
Right.
chord progressions, man. Like if you watch like a 5 minute chunk of this episode of Oku, and there's any
Mhm.
part where the orchestra, like where the strings come in, and then you go watch an episode of Seire no Moribito, you will hear the
Mhm.
same chord progressions for the orchestra, like this for the string parts. It's the same.
Hmm.
I mean, so that's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I really do like Kenji Kawai as a composer. I think he has like I don't know, maybe my sensibilities just match his. So I like the music, but I've heard it before.
Yep. 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 Yep, I feel the same.
Yeah, I do agree with you that the character designs are very good. Um, it's an adult cast,
Mhm.
and I mean that's it. More or less boils
I,
down to that, honestly. Like I enjoy the fact that most of the characters are adults.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Just to tell you that I really enjoyed these two main characters, and like the little knight that they have. So I'm a bit worried as well now that the focus is not on them and onto the like more of like the cause of the disease, or just the policy after that. Like they employ after that. So we have to get more time to like understand the new characters. So it will will be a uphill battle for me. But
I mean,
yeah,
I can't even see whether we're about to go uphill or downhill. I can't see that far ahead,
right.
so I can't say what
Yeah,
it'll
but
what it'll be like.
this first episode is like a little prologue. So it's
Yeah,
not it.
it's like Rakugo's first episode. There's a
That's
director's
true.
cut of the first episode of Rakugo that is also film length.
Hmm.
So this kind of reminded me of that, though the direction is not. I mean, the direction's all right, but I don't think the crew is quite as experienced or talented.
Hmm. All right. So what rank that you put for Oku?
First,
Oh wow, my is third out of 10.
yeah, I was impressed by this episode.
Surprise,
Felt like
surprise.
something that we haven't gotten from anime in quite a long time. In fact, since the show that I've been referencing, like 7 years ago,
Hmm.
feels like the first time we've gotten something like that.
It's it's very interesting because I thought one of the other show would have that in the back for sure as your top choice.
What do you mean?
So
Oh, among these 10
among the
series.
tens, yep. All
Well, I
right,
mean,
we got
I reckon that we have the same top three. That's my guess.
well, I reckon the same because I think the top three is a cut above the the other seven.
Well, I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen is probably it has an argument for like the best produced
I
episode out of these 10.
well, I agree,
But
but that's why we both put it four out of ten.
right, yeah,
All right, the next one is highly a surprise, so they say.
right.
It's Rurouni Kenshin, and we just happened to see the original series just for our bracket. So we just see
Yeah.
the we just watched the second the episode 3 and 4 just a few days ago.
Hmm. Yeah, and before that, a few months before that, we watched the first two episodes. So the differences between this premiere and the first episode of the original 1996 anime series are easy to spot,
Yep, yep,
since we've
yep.
seen both of them in relative proximity to one another.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about the manga, but I'm
Oh,
guessing that the remake is probably more faithful. That tends to be how anime remakes go.
yep. All right.
So
How?
it's not just the bearded guy who functions as a villain in this first episode. It's both him and his brother, who I don't think we've
Mhm.
even met as of the first four episodes of
Yep,
the original series. The Himura
yep,
brothers.
yep.
That's their name.
Yeah, that kind of interesting because in the original series, that guy was the disciple of
Kaoru
this, yeah, of Kaoru's uh
Dojo.
dojo, and it was the father who expelled him. I remember that.
Wait, really?
And
Who are we
was it
talking
the
about
father?
here?
The big guy, the main villains,
Oh, the bearded guy
the bearded guy.
was a member of Kaoru's dojo, and the father expelled him. I don't remember that
Yeah,
at all. Was that which version of the first episode was that in? Both or the old one?
the old one, the old one, the old one.
Huh.
That's why I said compare the different, and I remember that because the Karu father destroy his right hand, so that he only fight on his left hand now.
Okay.
Uh, as a way that because he's too violent and he's using the sword to like to inflict damage to other to the opponents rather than to protect. That's
Okay.
why Karu father just say that you're not suited for holding the sword, so I destroy your right hand. So he came back with the left hand, and at the end of that episode, Kenshin just destroyed his left hand as well, so he cannot hold the sword anymore.
Right. That's how.
So
That's why in episode 3 or 4, whichever one it is, I guess 4, since he
yep,
tries to hire Zanza or Sanosuke
yep,
to kill Kenshin, he has to rely on somebody else to do it because his hands are all
yep.
are wrecked.
Yeah, that's right. So it kind of refreshing to see, like he appear now with, like the right hand and, still kicking and uh, even more dominant. So I enjoy the first more, to be honest.
Huh. I mean, I couldn't even tell you which one I like more. I had no interest in the '96 anime, and I really don't have any interest in this one either.
This one. All right.
Yeah.
The production, I think, it's really good as well.
You think so?
It's yeah, it's not like the Sakura that I mean it's purpose. It doesn't look dated at all for me.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't look dated because it's new. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of how this episode looked. I mean, it was okay. It was all right. The lines are really thick.
Right.
You know, the outlines of the characters, the line work in general is extremely bold, and that's gonna, that is kind of a sign, at least in my eyes, that we're not really emphasizing action in this adaptation. Because when you want the lines to be a little bit thinner and have more ease of movement for the characters if they're going to be like dodging and flipping and doing all that stuff all over the place. You don't want them to be quite such a bold presence on the screen because it's more difficult to make them move that way. So what I think the thicker line work indicates is that there's just going to be a real emphasis on kind of a moving manga type adaptation, perhaps to support like a more classic feel. This being an older property.
Maybe yeah, maybe that's the case because I think that's what this episode did at the end when Kenshi just like just for one shot for one strike he killed like 4 5 opponents in yeah.
I don't think he killed anybody, right? He's
Sorry,
taken a
sorry.
vow not to kill anyone.
Yeah. He's not killed. He just uh put them to
To sleep.
not really. Yeah, but he
He
just
knocked
tried
him
them.
out.
Yeah, he knocked them out.
Yeah. Yeah, that scene was like I just got extreme Hajime no Ippo vibes
Oh,
from that
right.
scene. Meaning that I mean I like Hajime no Ippo, but in some of the later seasons of Hajime no Ippo, like after the first 70 something episode season, you start to get into the stuff that was produced digitally.
Yep.
And the way that some of those matches are storyboarded is like you see 5 seconds of action and then there's 20 seconds of characters in the audience being like, "Oh my god, did you see how
Reaction.
fast he moved?" And in
Yep.
Rurouni Kenshin, that's what happens essentially. Like the balance is a little bit better than that, but he's
Yep.
like you see him like kind of teleporting almost from spot to spot on the
Mhm.
screen. And then one of the characters will say he's using every different kind of speed, uh, and
Yep.
you
I
don't.
remember that.
You do. I mean, it's just the first episode, so it's fine. But
Yep.
it doesn't. It's not exactly the like a bold statement from the director or from the animation director when this is the version of like our first glimpse at his legendary swordsmanship is just this. It's mostly, him kind of whizzing around the screen really fast and people saying he is very fast.
Yep. 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 Being said that though, I think it's the intention for this version to go, like all the way. I think, and the manga it's really long. I really hope that we get into the Kyoto actually because it is like still one of my favorite like shonen arc.
Yeah, a lot of people have good things to say about that arc. I've never, you know, attempted to even
I
get close to that far in
Yep,
any
yep, yep.
version of the story. But there may be, um, there may be like a little bit faster pace. You know,
Yep.
like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood took fewer episodes to get as far as the 2003 version did, for example. And who
Yep.
knows what the exact reasons for that are? Because it's a closed doors
Mm,
production. You don't. It's not as though people are coming out in interviews and saying, "Oh yeah, just who cares about all that early stuff? We just wanted to speed through it because who cares?"
yep.
Uh, but it may
I
it may be that they probably know that the Kyoto arc
Yep.
is what people want to see, so they may get
Yep.
there a little faster. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that that's the case, that they would speed up the introduction a bit faster, just to make it, just to like differentiate it enough to the original show. But yeah, I'm really I'm looking forward to the Kyoto Act to see how they handle it. Or maybe if you don't like the anime, just go read the manga instead.
I guess people always have that option.
Yeah. So yep, I put that 6 out of 10.
All right, number 7 for me. Mm-hmm.
The real difference between us, hey.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Horimiya.
Yep. How about this one? Shiro Seijo to Kuro Bokushi. San Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence.
Yeah, I have to. I'm imagining that we probably feel pretty different about this one. I would guess,
Right.
or at least a little bit, because
Yep.
I kind of enjoyed it.
All right. I just feel that it more suitable at the short series instead of like the big one because they just have like one twist over it. And it's that the sense is appear like righteous to others but appear lazy to Lawrence. And I think it's just about their romance. That's it.
I mean, I don't know how romance heavy it's going to end up being. I think it'll probably
Yeah.
be like light and fluffy mostly.
Yeah, yeah,
And as
yeah.
a result, there's probably going to be a million different versions of that joke where she seems holy to all the townspeople, but um, Lawrence knows her true self.
Yep, yep, yep.
And yeah, I mean, I probably couldn't get through a full season of this. At least if many of the episodes are gonna resemble this one, have the same general makeup. But I thought the first episode was all right, like for what it was. It did remind me of Maojo de Oyasumi a little bit
Uh-huh.
because they both have like a low energy female character. Um, of course, in this show, Cecilia only shows that part of her personality, like the low energy part around, like when the church doors are closed, essentially. But in Maojo de Oyasumi, there was also a low energy female character. She was always sleeping, and it's a vaguely medieval setting. There's a lot of low stakes trouble that the characters get into. Just and also from the same studio, and the assistant director of Maojo de Oyasumi is the director of this show. Her name is Sumie Noro.
Hmm.
So I feel some similarities between them. I think even in terms of production, like the use of 3D CG, like interiors,
Yep.
is pretty similar. So and it same studio as well. I just feel like it's Maojo 2.0, but not as cool.
Yeah,
because
well,
there
I
aren't there isn't like a magical forest and like a basement under the castle where there's like a lava world and a room where the cold wind is always blowing and everything's frozen. There's nothing like that. You know, this is just they're just
yep,
in a regular ass medieval town and there's a church there and that's
yep.
about it.
Well, yep, I agree because I enjoy the show that you compare much better than this one because I think they're pretty clear of putting the former show putting that into segments. I'm not sure if that's gonna be the case with this show where they put that into like short segments and the task that Celia and Lawrence had to achieve,
Right,
overcome.
that's true. In Maojo de Oyasumi, there were like missions, and the narrator would be like, "This is the mission for the main character to go on. She has to find such and such a magical item that will help her sleep." And
Yep,
then, yeah, this show is more slice of lifey. When I said that there was a slice of life show amongst these 10, is this one?
yep, yep. Unfortunately, this is a slide that a bit monotone for me because I think it also adds more to the romance between Cecilia and Lawrence.
I mean, what romance do you think realistically is going to happen here?
It's
I
not
don't.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. But Cecilia obviously had a crush
Oh yeah.
for Lawrence.
Yeah. That's just another one of the show's jokes. I think. I don't think
All
there's going to
right.
be. You know, they're not going to go see the fireworks together.
No, 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 no. And yeah, the video setting actually remind me, and even their use of color remind me a bit of Humanity Has Declined, which I actually enjoy.
Huma- uh, I know what you mean by that. I don't really. I mean, the composition and humanity's the compositing in Humanity Has
Yep,
Declined is a lot more bright. This
yep.
show, even though it does have warm colors, they're very soft. In
Yep.
Humanity Has Declined, sometimes your eyes kind of hurt looking at it because it's so bright. Yeah, I see what you mean though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far we only see the two main characters, but so I think that the show gonna just expand later on to like introduce other characters.
In the poster,
And
there's four. There's four characters. There's two
yeah,
pastors, and then there's Cecilia, and there's another girl as well. So maybe she'll be another lady
yep,
saint, as the subtitles kept referring to her,
yep, yep,
like
yep,
of another church from the next town over or something.
yep. So I have very little to say about this show. So she's supposed to be the healers.
A healer? No, I think she's just a saint. Like this is essentially the Catholic Church.
Yeah, well, I by healer I mean like when everyone have problems, she's the one who like gonna heal their souls. He just
Oh, I
just
see. Yeah,
give a, give a bit of advice and
yeah. Perform a card trick as
that's
proof
true.
of
Yeah,
her, divine grace.
yes, he did that. It worked.
Right. Well, I worked on but like a group of little children. Yeah, but I mean this it could probably work on adults too. This being the kind of show that it is, the as long as the character acts cute, everyone will be like, "Aw,
Yeah.
you really are blessed by God."
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's all right.
yep. It's alright. I put it last. I put
Oh,
it 10
really?
out of 10.
Oh, okay. I put it sixth.
Wow, right.
Yeah. So we
This this can be the show that we are the most different about.
Horimiya is got the same difference between 5 and 9 and 6 and 10.
Yep.
I don't know. What? So what did you put? Watashi. Where's your?
So we only got two shows left.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Oh, are you serious, dude? Okay, I figured out what show we have which one has the biggest difference in opinion just now.
All right. Is that gonna be the next shows? Let's
No,
go.
definitely not.
Let's go. All right. The next one gonna be Undead Mother Farce.
Yeah, Undead Girl Murder Farce is the for some reason when they localized the title they took out the word girl.
Yeah.
Even
I
though,
don't get it, but
yeah, I mean, in the show's promotional material and even in the OP, it says "Undead Girl Murder Farce." But oh well. I mean, there's literally an undead girl in the show too. Well, maybe not technically, because she never dies, right?
yeah, Cersei and that. So that's
No,
technically
I don't think she is. She did she die and was brought back? I think she just
I
can never die.
she yeah she never died, but yeah she got her body taken away from her, and I think the point of the show is to retrieve her body and then kill her.
Right. Yeah, she wants to die.
So
She's
that
probably tired of having lived for like 1,000 years or however long it's been.
yeah. So that one hell of a premise right there. You know.
Yeah, I mean it. I would agree, except also the male lead, Tsugaru, also
Yeah.
says that he wants to die. But
Yeah.
I don't even think that he really means it because when Aya, the girl whose head is in the cage, proposes that they go to Europe in order to try to track down this guy that has experimented on both of them and made them both into like weird,
Yeah.
only fractionally human supernatural beings. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's go to Europe. Let's do it."
Because yeah, because with the premise that she gonna grant him more life.
Yeah,
So
but he said
he
he
agreed with
wanted to
that.
die earlier on
Yeah.
in their very long and winding conversation.
I think it's more because he know that he currently like doing destructive thing to his body, and he doesn't care about that. So that's why he also he said that he wanted to die, but now
Yeah,
he see like a light in the tunnel where like he can prolong his life for
I
good.
suppose so, but you don't really get a sense from any of the conversations that he has with Aya that he has a moment like that where
Yeah.
he sees a light at the end of the tunnel or
Yeah.
sees a way for himself to survive and makes a decision like a decision to pursue that. He just,
Mhm.
he just kind of says, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah. I'm on it. I heard that like because they released this in two episodes, and the episode two is much better than the first one, and
I mean, I already thought
explain
the first
more
one was
about the
pretty good.
concept. Yeah, yeah, and I already think that the first one is pretty good. Like you see the fight between him and the mate. It
Shizuku?
just Shizuku. Yep, it's just so gorgeous.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, I would say the fight that he has with what was it called? Like the
The first one.
ringmaster or somebody, the person who handles all of the supernatural creatures
Yep.
when he's fighting in the like the little miniature circus, like the sideshow, I guess.
Yep.
That guy says what what the creature's name is. It starts with like, damn, I didn't write it down. I thought I did too. I must have been sleepy enough that I was like mixing up my memories of what notes I took. Oh, Shokera. Yes, I did write it. Anyway,
Uh,
the name of the thing doesn't matter. But that fight scene, I thought the animation was stronger.
uh, uh,
Whereas in the fight that he had with Shizuku, the direction kind of took over. Like
right.
the cuts between scenes, where you would get an overhead shot as like you would see the characters kind of brush past one another in close up or in perhaps
Mhm.
in damn it, what why am I blanking? What is it called when you see somebody from the side?
Uh, Profile.
Yeah, in profile. Yeah, you would
All
see
right.
there would be like a close up or a profile or like some fancy lens would be kind of simulated as the characters would brush past one another, and then there all of a sudden smash cut to um, looking down like a bird's eye view, looking down
Mhm.
on them from overhead, and then as the characters turned to face each other once again, there would be another cut to a different angle, and it was just very, there was a lot of energy given to the scene, even though the fundamentals of the animation, while they were still strong, they were kind of played second fiddle, like they took the back seat, and the
Yep.
storyboard took over.
Yep. Yep.
which is interesting because that means that whoever storyboarded this first episode is like, and I imagine it was probably the series director, who's the Rakugo director.
Yep.
I imagine it was him who storyboarded this episode, and that like there's a lot of versatility on display here.
I agree. He also the director of Kaguya-sama.
Right.
So, yep, he is a pretty reliable name, to say the
Yeah, and
least.
he was trained at Shaft. That was like his home studio
Yep.
when
Hmm.
he entered the industry, which is interesting to think about.
Yep. So
Because you
yeah,
do, you like watching this episode, you can get a little bit of a Shaft vibe, a little bit of a
yep.
Monogatari
Hmm.
vibe, like in the way that the conversation between Suguru and Aya
Hmm.
is the way that like aspects of their dialogue are represented on screen, kind of metaphorically.
Hmm. Yep. 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 And yeah, I think this is a pretty good premiere as well. So pretty straightforward so far, but we got like the two main characters who like uh who are a mix between supernatural and human, and they I think Sugaru, we don't hear much about his thought, but he might have like appear to like doesn't despite his human being body. So I think this is an very interesting premise that we have.
Yeah, yeah. The alternate history that it builds, it does it really
Yep.
well, I feel.
Well, I think that like the caption that I have in the beginning, this is the word that's unlike any others or some stuff. I feel it a bit too on the nose, but
I
to
thought it
think
was
about
very effective.
really, all right.
Yeah, because
Uh,
they just got in and got out. Like the world's different.
mhm.
The in the wake of the westernization of so this series would be set around 170 or 180 years after Oku,
Right.
because it happens after the Meiji Revolution. So basically, all the on-screen text basically said was, "This is a world different from the one that you know." In the wake of the Meiji Revolution, as Japan was being westernized, there was a crackdown on supernatural creatures, and now enjoy the show.
Yep.
That was essentially it. I didn't think it was overbearing at all.
Right. Well, so yep. I'm pretty much in for second episode because people really high up on the second episode on this one.
Oh, is that right?
Yep. Is it the
Yeah,
one
I'm
that you gonna?
interested.
All right. Is it the one that you put in third? All right. So the last three, actually, your last three is the last three of the show. That's interesting.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh no, no, sorry. So is that the one that you gonna? I'm just guessing what you put. This show
Oh yeah, third.
third. All right. I put it second.
All right. Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I really enjoy the presentation a lot.
Yep.
There'll be scenes, the just all the it was like the director just had a whole bunch of ideas for how this dialogue with Aya could be visualized, and how the fact that she is a head without a body could be used. Like there are shots of her head kind of being raised up above him,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like there'll be like a glow behind it as though it's the head of the Buddha.
Yep. All right.
And
Yep.
there are shots where like blood pours from her neck, and there was a one particular cut where he's it reminded me so much of the episode of Rakugo where the main character crosses over into the spirit world. There was a shot of like it was just completely black. It was pitch black, and then there were a whole bunch of like wooden boards forming
Mm-hmm.
a path that Sugaru was walking with Shizuku as she was holding Aya's head, and the three of them were just talking, standing on those wooden boards. Like, I have to imagine that imagery in Japan probably signals maybe like a journey into the afterlife, or a journey into a future that you can't know, something along those lines.
Hmm.
And
I
yeah, it
definitely
was
remember.
very
I
imaginative.
definitely remember that scene in Rakugo, especially when they do the Rakugo performance. I think at the end where uh nearly the end where I think they put down the Rakugo theaters. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't recall that in these episodes though.
What, a Rakugo theater being burned down?
No, no, the walking the dark street,
Oh,
and then this.
walking along the wooden planks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I took a screen cap of it.
Oh,
It's
nice.
pretty neat. Because I was sleepy while I was watching almost all of these episodes, one right after the other, and eventually I stopped taking good notes and I just started hitting the screen cap button so I could look back on like the images that I thought were cool. Yeah,
All right.
I watched them in alphabetical order, so this one being near the end, I was kind of
Uh,
sleepy.
well, I must say that the last three or four shows is much better than the first three or four shows. So
Well, I
good,
definitely
good on
don't
you.
agree with that.
All right.
At least
Huh.
not entirely, because the next show is
Yep.
Watashi no Shiawase no Kekkon,
Yep.
and
Uh,
I thought this was
um,
miserable.
yeah, my happy marriage.
Yeah, what is happy about this, dude?
All right. So, oh, I can think a whole lot thing to be happy about, because our main character Mio is unhappy about her current life, and she got arranged marriage to some guy, and her life is about to get better. So that's the happy thing.
I mean, I guess we as members of the audience, and knowing that this is intended to be a romantic anime, we know that her
Yeah.
life will probably improve in the long term.
Yep.
But I can't imagine that she's too thrilled with how things have turned out, since she didn't get to be with, uh, you know, I guess her childhood friend.
Huh. That guy.
Yeah,
I
instead
think.
he gets married to her stepsister.
Yep. I Yeah, I guess it's for the better, because if the man it that guy, like, cannot stand up for himself, you know.
Well, he met. I don't know. There may be like financial pressure for him to marry the a particular one of the sisters, so that he can get in good with this family, this wealthy family,
Yeah.
and in
Well,
the process he'll secure he'll provide security for his own family.
yeah.
When it
Well,
comes to arranged marriages, that's like money is a big part of it.
yeah. All right. So, the first episode, I think the show purposely just focus on Mio, circumstances, and her perspective, and it's a lot of miserable, just to say the least. So see the daughter of the main family, but she been treated like a servant.
It's literally just Cinderella.
Yeah, I actually just don't get the idea behind it, but yeah, well, yep, she basically just Cinderella, and
Yeah,
yeah, she been abused many times by the sisters, as we see, and she got a bit of, like, solace in the cherry trees, which is no longer a tree anymore. It's just
yeah,
it's a bit weird. It's just a trunk,
yeah. Why did
and
they cut it down?
I
That
think
just
it's just from mother's jealousies.
yeah, that seems Like when you're writing this episode as the author, you're just thinking to yourself, well, how can I like really stick the a dagger into her back here?
Yep.
Oh, we'll just
Yeah.
cut down the tree that reminds her of her mother.
Yep.
That'll be good. Surely that won't come across as, like too ridiculous or too cruel.
It is not because the whole other thing from this show is more ridiculous, I think.
What other thing?
Uh the fact that like the sister it just get constantly bully her, and I don't even know why. Uh just the father just cannot stand up for her either. And she even doesn't have any clothes or any stuff to bring along with her.
When she,
It
you mean when
just
she packs her bags to go be this other guy's wife?
Yeah, yeah, true.
Dude, I can hardly remember stuff that happened towards the end of this episode. I was like fading. Um,
And yeah, and
I
then
guess there was a scene where she was packing and she hardly had anything to pack. I remember one of her family's servants giving her a couple rice balls to eat, and I guess she offered her like was was it that blue kimono
yep,
with like the leaves on it or
yep,
some
and
sort of colorful pattern?
yep, and it's the servant who tell her, is it the only thing that you're packing? And Miyo just say, yeah, like all the things that mother gave me have been destroyed. Yep.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, this girl live a miserable life, and she's to the point. I think this is like one of the few moments where it's actually becomes solid. So she look at the house where she grow up, or where she born and grow up, and she said like there's no more for her to linger here before she leave the house and go to the new husband's estate to stay.
Right. Yeah. This
So we
episode, I just thought this was extremely boring.
right,
Like
well it
she talks in a voice like this. I don't know if you can hear me right now, but everything she says sounds like this. Oh, thank you for the little caramel candies, my childhood friend. Thank you so much. Oh no, I don't have any clothes. It's okay though. Every single line sounds like that. The colors are so drab.
yep.
Obviously to represent the fact that she is living such a bland and colorless life. And I'm sure that in future episodes, when she's on good terms with her new husband, we'll have brighter colors to work with. But it just
Oh wow.
visuals, nothing. Story, Cinderella. Only she doesn't get the cool glass slipper, like suspense of who will she get back together with the prince or anything. She just goes and is sent to a man's house.
Yep.
I sleep,
And
dude. I sleep.
yep, and we should just see like the first half of it, because apparently I think the next episode we're gonna see more about the other half, the guy, Kudo.
Oh, you seriously think that we're actually gonna see more of the one of the two main characters of the show?
I I I well, I think it's more like it's the interaction between him and her that's gonna be like the the spark of the series, and we haven't gotten into that out of these four episodes.
Yeah, that's true. It really is. This first episode is just like wallowing in how unfortunate her life is.
Yeah, but yeah, well, I still have a good time. I
How? How did you do it?
I,
Teach me.
I I actually distinctly remember that in our chat Amun say that my happy marriage is actually he reckoned the best out of the whole premiere that he watched. After watching episode, I just feel like, why, I enjoy it well enough, but it's not something that gonna be outstanding enough to dethrone all other shows. But well,
I don't know.
it's still a moon opinion, and I respect that.
Yeah, everybody's got a. I mean, whatever the worst anime you can think of, whatever that anime is, that's somebody's favorite.
Yeah. Well, maybe not Gohans. We have two Gohans.
You kidding me? I mean, Gohan's is still. They're still. They're still
Kicking and
kicking,
alive.
right? So
Yep.
somebody is buying that stuff, streaming it, funding it, whatever. Somebody believes in it,
Yep.
which means some people have to love it.
Yep. Good enough. So I put it 5 of 10, and I intend to watch more of it.
All
Just so
right.
you know.
Yeah, my it was my bottom pick.
Yep. Yep. I just realized that as well. So
Yeah,
well.
I sleep, man. This show. I mean, there's actually a small chance that I will watch more of this show just to help myself sleep. Like on nights when I feel like I can't fall asleep, I'll put this on and I'll probably be out like a light, 5 minutes tops.
I feel that the next few episode gonna be more energetic than this because the focus is not on the girls alone.
Yeah, but don't you think she'll probably still be talking like this?
Oh, she
This is
will, she will.
this is the performance that she was instructed to give. Somebody decided that was a good idea for her to talk like this.
Well, what can you do? She's Cinderella, you know.
I don't remember Cinderella. I don't remember like how sassy she was. Certainly,
Well,
she couldn't
she,
give a whole bunch of lip to her evil stepmother because then she'd probably get hit.
yeah,
But I have to imagine that she wasn't like staring at the ground and whispering all her lines.
yeah,
That
was
just
busy with household stuff.
yeah, that's
All
right.
day.
She was busy doing chores. And is she the one? Well, whatever. Never mind.
Yep. Let's just get to the Lasso Zom 100
Yeah.
bucket list of the dead.
Yep. The title coming from what we see at the like it's the very last cut of this episode, I think, is he goes into a convenience store, he finds a notebook and a Sharpie, and he writes at the top, you know,
Yep.
bucket list or 100 or something, and he's going to make a list of
Yep.
all the things he wants to do.
Yep.
Now that the zombie apocalypse has happened, and he doesn't have to go into his soul crushing wage slave job anymore.
Yep. 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 I
Feels good,
think.
man.
Yep. I I think it actually pretty neat to say that like he been living like a zombie, and he would be the one who welcomed the zombie apocalypse
Right.
because he like I think at multiple times he thinking of like commit suicide as well.
Was I kind of that kind of rings a bell? Is was oh yes, that's right. The train when he's at the train station.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He thinks
yeah,
to himself,
that,
"Oh, this barrier is in the way. If only
yep,
this barrier weren't here, I wouldn't have to go into work tomorrow."
yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
that's right.
So do this show remind you of like Gainaxos? Because I just hear a lot of people just keep saying that that this is more Gainax than Gainax.
I definitely don't agree with those people.
Right.
No, I mean, it reminds me more of this is the obvious comparison, but it really does remind me of Tetsuro Araki's direction, particularly on High School of the Dead,
All right.
which
Yep.
another zombie show.
Yep.
Um, it's just it's it's larger than life. It's
Yep.
big. Gainax is no. I mean, Gainax has a no. I don't even know what to say about like that. I don't even know how to approach that comparison because I really don't see it at all.
Because I can feel a bit of that. Like the character are really expressive, especially later on where he realized that like he not going he doesn't have to go to work anymore. So like the world just got like brightened and full of colors, and like the oppression, his oppression is, like it's really, like I for me, I can see some of the gainax is in there.
I really feel like I get more of a shonen vibe
Right,
from this
right.
series, like some uh, like a shonen.
Zombieland.
No, not Zombieland Saga, not really, but
No, no. All right, yep. No, no, go
like
ahead.
a shonen protagonist discovering some great piece of news, like that a character who had been injured in battle has made a full recovery, and they're like, so their friend's gonna come back soon, and they would
Yep.
like bust out of whatever room they were in and just start like running down the street and like shouting about their feelings.
All right.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what I get from Akira, the main character, or Tendo, however you're referring to him, the main character
Yep.
of this show. He's just like, his mood is just like all the way at the bottom and then all the way at the top. And
Yeah.
the way that the show expresses it and the way he expresses it is just as big and loud as possible.
Yep.
But I mean, I think it works really well just because the show is so bold all the time, even when it
Mm-hmm.
is. And I mean, you compare this to something like Watashi no Shiawase no Kekkon. This show, when it has a character who is like down in the dumps
Yep.
and feeling suicidal because their job sucks so much, the way that that's depicted is like very engrossing. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel like the show itself is turning down the volume. The
Yep.
volume is still up, but
Yep.
the style, the type of music that's playing is different.
Yep.
The type of colors and animation and the general direction are all different. So I feel like the show runs the gamut between you know his different moods pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 I agree with you on that, and I think that the show attack to the corporation is a pretty much, like obvious, because what he experienced is not, like some workplace bullying or anything, like all the others college are actually pretty nice to him. It's
Yeah,
just
except
it's
for
just the
that
way
one
that.
guy who like screams all the time.
Yep, yep, yep. Or the CEO who,
Well,
who
yeah, the CEO is obviously a
the
pig,
bad guy.
but yeah, I'm
Yep,
talking about the really fat guy
yep, 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 yep.
who makes the girl cry. That there's a moment that I really like in the script where he's
Huh?
talking about like the benefits of working there,
Yep,
when obviously the point that's being made is that it sucks to work there. But he talks about the fact that you get vacation, you get
yep,
vacation time and personal time off,
yep,
and your supervisors provide a lot of motivation. In fact, sometimes they're so motivating that your coworkers will end up crying because they're so inspired, And then what you see as a representation of that is him yelling, and then the coworker next to him starts to cry and like run away because he's being so horrible.
yep.
Um, yeah, it's really fun. Like the takedown of black companies. They in the subtitles they said exploitative corporations, which is just a huge mouthful. But what they were actually saying in Japanese was buraku, like black, and then whatever the word for company is, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he worked for the production companies.
Right.
Uh, Not sure uh, what work that he had to do though, but yeah, it's kind of interesting, and I reckon that like those kind of like comedy is still relevant, is still prominent in Japan and other countries.
Well, we know a little bit about what kind of work he has to do because he gets that email or a phone call from a client who says, "Oh yeah, my boss wants their kid to be in the
Oh,
commercial."
yep, 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 yep.
So it's a production company that specializes in, I don't know, advertising, promotion.
Hmm.
So I guess producing commercials.
Yep, 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 that's true.
So not
So
only is he working at like a soulless company that treats all of its workers very badly. But the whole point, like what the company does, is they exist to promote the works of other
Yep.
companies, and those corporations also probably treat their workers pretty badly.
Yep.
So the idea is that
It's the whole
he's
system.
not just a cog in a machine. He is a cog in a bigger series of cogs, which in itself is, part of an even bigger machine than that. He's just like not even a his job
Yep.
dehumanizes him basically.
Yep.
And we see that
And
happen over the course of the episode before he finally breaks free.
yep. And I think it pretty much Japanese as well because even though that he hated the job and even though that he feel that he wanted to get suicide, he just like quit the job isn't the option. You know,
Right.
just a letter of resignation is not on the table.
Right.
They work
Yeah, well,
until they
he
dead.
thinks to himself, how could I possibly apply for another job? Like I don't have time,
Yep.
or I would be like letting my coworkers down. I'd be he doesn't say that exactly, but he says something like I'd leave them shorthanded or I'd leave
Yep.
them in the lurch, something like that. Like now that you're at this company, you got to do your duty, basically. That sort of mentality.
Yeah, so I think the attack to the corporation is like the main guy in Black Lagoon.
Right. Rock.
Remember that? But I enjoy this guy much better.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, his show looks a lot better than Black Lagoon.
Because the Rock, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He still wear the suits even when later on when they are pirating. So
Right.
I that doesn't make any sense to me. But alright.
I don't know. Maybe it's like there's actually kind of a parallel um,
Between
between how Rock continues to wear his shirt and tie,
yep,
and how Akira in this episode, when he's at the drinking party with his coworkers,
yep.
and one of them says, "Oh, this you don't need to wear that tie. It's not really that kind of company."
Oh yeah,
He says, "Oh, but this gets me hyped up. Like this is how I go into battle with my tie."
and he
I
still
think
wear
it's
the tie
probably kind of
today.
the same for
Yep,
Rock in Black Lagoon. Like this
that's
is
true.
if he's gonna get serious about something and get down to business, then he's gonna wear that shirt and tie.
Yep, yep, yep. His work mode, but yeah, I understand that. And yeah, he get heartbroken to see like his crush to get into his crush house, and that's the already transformed.
Right.
I think it's funny.
Yeah. Well, not only had she already transformed into a zombie, but his boss, who was sleeping with her at the office,
Yep,
was over at her apartment.
yep, yep, yep.
So
Oh man,
there's a bunch of scenes like that in not just anime, but in all sorts of stuff. Like you go over to the girl's apartment and oh no, there's another guy there. Oh no, what are you supposed to do? It's very heartbreaking for young men. I'm sure I'm really too old for
yep,
for me to see that like on a TV screen and be like, oh man. At the absolute most, I would think like, gee, that's a bummer.
yep,
I couldn't, because my main thought would be like, well, it's her life.
yep,
She
yep,
can fuck whoever she wants to fuck.
yep.
Uh, but for somebody like him who's just like fresh out of college and is just joined this company, he's like, no, my dreams.
Yep. Well, I one other thing that I really appreciate is that I think the main thing that I dislike about High School of Undead is the fan service, and this first episode doesn't really have any fan service.
Bro, you kidding
So
me?
not
How
really,
about the
right?
scene where he goes over to her apartment and one of her tits is out?
Well, that's not fan service, right? It's supposed to be funny.
Uh, I don't know. I'm pretty
All
sure
right.
that the intended audience for the show is going to be like, "Whoa, one of her boobs is out, dude." And it's got
So
blood on it, so they don't have to censor it.
no, yeah. And not the red bloods. They have like a full colors, green, yellows colors
Yeah.
splattered in her bodies.
Yeah, I think that's smart because it means
Yep.
you don't have to. Do you remember like seeing scenes from Tokyo Ghoul
Right. Yep.
where the all the blood is has to be censored, so they essentially flip all the colors so that it looks like a negative, and
Yep.
all the blood is like neon blue, like really bright
Yep.
turquoise blue.
Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
I
Yep. Yep.
think they probably just made the decision to make the blood multicolored in this show just to get around that.
I think that's smart.
It could be that like in full color illustrations of like I don't know, like if the manga's being serialized in a magazine, maybe on the front cover, Zom 100 would get the front color, and maybe that's something that the mangaka even had in mind, as he wanted it to look that way. But regardless of whether or not that's the case, that does let them get around the the color censorship for blood, and it just makes the world look like even brighter, and it
Yeah, that's
reflects
true. More
his state of
colorful.
mind.
Yep.
It makes it like bigger and bolder.
Yep. So I really expect this to be, like if it have a good at Shaun of the Dead, or in same level of Zombie Land, or the live action, the comedy zombie, I'm up for it, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one of like three shows that I would say I'm interested to follow. I think we got our three shows picked out like pretty damn easy
Yep. Yep.
for what we'll end up talking about in late September.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Yep.
I
That's
mean,
right.
there's just nothing. You got Jujutsu Kaisen, but that's a sequel,
Yep.
and
So
everything else
I
is pretty second tier or worse.
I agree with that. So me personally, I gonna take, I think, my first six show to watch more. So I still give a chance for Rurouni Kenshin and my happy marriage to be happy. Uh, but yeah, the three shows, the three top shows, I think are pretty much set in stone.
Yeah. Yep. No arguments here.
So the show that we differ the most are my happy marriage, which I think is understandable.
Yeah. Well, I hope that she finds happiness with her her husband.
Arranged marriage.
Yeah. But I mean, she does the to the show's credit, I guess, or maybe not to its credit, but to as far as her prospects of like living a happy life. At the very least, she's attracted to her husband because
Yep.
one of the only things that she thinks to herself about him after meeting him is, wow, he's like really handsome.
Yep.
So you got that going for you, at least. Even if he's like a big jerk at first or not a very good communicator, you can at least look at him. He's a little bit of eye candy.
Yeah, I expect him to be blunt, and
Yeah, like not know how to talk to people
yep,
or a woman.
yep. So I expect him to, well, yep, just blunt, and then like maybe honest, so just like something to like pick herself up, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell how the entire show is going to go, I think, from the very first
Hmm,
episode.
that's true. That's true.
He's going to be kind of cold and standoffish at first, and then she's going to like find the willpower within herself to try to make the best of her circumstances, and then she's going to discover a couple things about him that make her like him more, and then he's going to find it endearing that she's working so hard to make their relationship work, and then his relatives are going to be introduced, and she's going to understand that he comes from a difficult family, and I mean the shit just writes itself.
Yep. 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 I I can think of 90% of what you said gonna happen in the real shows.
Well,
That's sad.
eh, Hopefully, there's some fun episodes in there.
Yep. So, yep. Um, anyone for the summer 2023, avoid Gohans, go with the three soda pick. And if you have a chance, if you stay in Japan, especially just watch How Do You Live, or now they have the new name, The Boy and the Heron.
Right? Yeah, dude. Oh man, I hope that comes out. I hope it gets a like a North American release and an Australian release
Yep.
uh, pretty
By the end of
soon.
this year, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, I have no doubt. I mean, well,
I know that.
this is like the whole no marketing thing that's been going on with the movie does cast like some doubt on
Yep.
how quick a worldwide release might happen, but it's Ghibli.
That.
Like they need to make
Yep.
their money back because they probably spent 1 gorillion yen on the production of the film, especially
Yep.
since it took like 10 years or 8 years or whatever.
Yeah. It has been tipped that possibly The Boy and the Heron gonna open at Venice Film Festival, but it's more likely because of the current strike that put all of the American films out of the market at the moment.
Oh, interesting. Is that really a part of the strike or a condition of it? Because I'm sure that whatever films were meant to premiere are already in the can.
Yep.
Like they're done.
Yep. So I think except for A24 company that have been ashamed by the guild.
Why
Uh,
why why do they get an exemption?
I have no idea why, but
That's
apparently
really weird.
they, yeah, it's weird, it's weird. But they have a lot of films in the festival, so except from them, all others will not, like all the actor will not joining for the film festival, and as a result, they all the films are not, gonna join, gonna sign
Interesting.
up.
It's interesting.
So we got like a full festival season that like that look pretty grim at the moment because no American movies gonna join.
Well, I would much rather like if I were going to a film festival, not that I've ever been to one or know, jack shit about them, but if I were going to one, I would take, 24 screenings of The Boy and the Heron or How Do You Live over, you know, one screening
The
of
Hollywood
24
stuff.
different films that I don't know anything about. Like I just need that new Ghibli, bro. Give it to me.
Oh well, 24 tabs? Seriously? I
Well, I mean,
I
maybe I'd only go to like four of them, but
Yep.
I just want to see
Yep,
it.
I can see that. So I think Chikis had already been assigned for the American release, so I expect that gonna come out to America like the end of this year. So
Yeah.
finger crossed on that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep. All right,
I
guys.
guess I
So
guess we're done.
that's it for now. Uh, enjoy the rest of the season, and we're gonna talk to you soon.
Yeah, we'll be back with more Nana pretty soon. So see you
Yep.
then.